it up. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna show everybody. I'm not gonna try to get that external validation. I'm just gonna be validated internally by my actions. Number one, we have to understand why exactly do we tell people our goals. The reason being that people tell others their goals. We want validation for something that has not been completed. Wanting validation for something that has not been completed. Let me give you an example, right? Which one at least sounds better? I've ran a marathon, or I'm running a marathon in a month. Let's say in a month. Oh, I'm running a marathon in a month. Or I've ran a marathon last week, let's say. Obviously, the one that is you've already done it sounds better. But when you tell people like, oh, I'm going to run a marathon, I'm going to run a marathon, or I'm going to finish this business project, or I'm going to make $1 million in business, or I'm going to. What that does is sometimes you get validation for the goal that you have not already completed. And what this does is actually sends like an actual dopamine signal to your brain, and then your brain thinks that you've already completed it. And what that does is causes you not to actually chase or go after that goal. You tell somebody, oh man, I'm gonna make $1 million in business, and I'm gonna get so jacked to this winter arc, and yada yada yada. You keep talking about it, and what that does is it hijacks your reward system and actually takes away the fuel to complete that goal. So that's what it does personally. But let's see what it does externally. Because you've rambled about your goals, because you've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it, what this does externally to people outside is they start to think maybe this guy, this girl, maybe he's not about his ish. Maybe he's not who he says he is. Maybe he's just kind of a talker. There's something that Alex Hormozi said about people who talk about entrepreneurship but never really do it. L'entrepreneur. I'm like, damn, kind of falling into that category. Even though I've never talked about like what business ideas I do have on and like what I want to do business wise. Internally, I'm a entrepreneur. You know, I'm not telling nobody my goals. Internally, I'm like, kind of fall into the entrepreneur category. But a entrepreneur is somebody who's like, I'm gonna launch something. It's going to happen. It's gonna happen. And then it never really happens. And then externally, people are like, I don't know if I even want to invest into this business idea. When you actually create this business, I don't think I even want to invest, because you kept saying, oh, it's gonna happen for 6 months. It's gonna happen for 7 months. In 3 months, it's gonna happen. In 4 months, it's gonna happen. And that's the funny thing. They say that when men plan, God laughs. Because you could say, in 3 months, I'm going to do this. You could say, in 3 months, I'm going to create a business. And then, but you don't know the path of creating that business, right? So you told somebody, oh, in 3 months I'm going to create a business, but not knowing the path to actually create that business, you fall into pit holes, traps, and just normal things. They could be completely normal things, valid reasons why what you wanted to create has delayed. But to that other person, they don't know that. They've never created a business before or done what you're doing. So to their perspective, you're kind of just, like I said, an entrepreneur. You're kind of just a person who talks about what they want to create, but they've never created it. They've never actually projected that out. So the best thing to do is actually keep it in your mind. Keep it in your mind, pray about it, talk about it, write it down. But do it all to yourself. If we're talking about it, talk about it in your mind. If you want to create it, write it down. It's okay to have timelines with goals. It's okay to have goals, period. That's one of the most important things, is to have goals. But when you tell other people, it takes away the energy. It's like if you're planting a tree, and every time that tree grows a little bit, you take it out of its roots, you show everybody, and then you put it back into the ground. And now the tree has to re-root, it has to regrow, and then you see it bud just a little bit, and you take it out and you show everybody. And you keep doing that month after month, year after year, decades start to pass, and that tree that you wanted to grow is still at its roots. It's still at its budding stage. Until eventually you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna take action, and I'm gonna leave the tree where it is. I'm not gonna bring it up, I'm not gonna talk about it, I'm not gonna show everybody, I'm not gonna try to get that external validation. I'm just gonna be validated internally by my actions to actually manifest this project that I desire. But that's it for today, guys.